The strategy of the mind is already in there to not take it all the way through. This is not the first time for most of you that you have been very close to being able to be in this place of taking the inquiry all the way through. For some of you, you've been doing it for many lifetimes. You've gotten close for many lifetimes. You might have gotten close and then spun off, went into a tailspin, spin out, and didn't do it again for another 20 or 30 lifetimes. Now you're having another opportunity. And what are you going to do with it? Here we are. What are you going to do with this opportunity?
Let's do it together.
I didn't hear you.
Let's do it together.
Let's do it together? No, you got to do it on your own. I'll be with you.
Can we do it now?
Why not? Right now. Right now.
That's good.
Now we laugh, but I want to tell you something. It is no joke. When it comes right down to the nitty-gritty, when the going gets tough, who was it? Newt Brockney or someone in football says, when the going gets tough, let the tough get going. And that's where it is right here with this. The word is resolve. Have you made a resolve? Have you resolved to complete it now? What's the most important thing to you? Trying to smooth it out and make things happy and joyous and exciting in this lifetime? Or to transcend this world entirely? Because the paradox of it is, you will have to deal with the facts. If you do not realize the truth, you will continue to have to deal with the facts. Jay. And those facts are that it's like you ever cut down a banana tree? Anyone ever had a banana tree growing in your yard? In Florida, in the South, they have banana trees. You cut them down, you can cut them right down smack to the ground. I had one in my backyard in Houston a number of years ago. And it had gotten so bushy and so totally out of hand, I went out there and I cut it down, right smack down to the ground. I thought, well, I got rid of that booger. No. Next season, that booger grew right back just as big as it ever was. You get that? The tendencies are there. It's the tendencies that do come back. Now, you're not the same personality, but the same tendencies. See? It's like the river empties into the ocean. Now, once the river has merged with the ocean, it can't go back up the river again and become the river. You see?
Yes.
But what happens is that the sun shines, evaporates the ocean, the evaporation rises up and forms as clouds, the wind blows the clouds back to the mountain where it cools off, falls into rain, into streamlets, and back into the river it comes. You get it?
Yeah.
So the patterns are still there. As long as the samskaras, it's called in Sanskrit, the samskaras, okay? The vasanas, the patterns, the tendencies, the conditioned patterns that go up, that comprise this unique, separate sense of I. This so-called personal history, which basically is the tendencies that comprise the self-image of what I think I am, who I think I am, what I think I'm capable of, what I think I'm not capable of, whether it has a name or not. It's the pattern of tendencies themselves. We get this?
Yes.
This pattern of tendencies themselves is what apparently incarnates. It creates a body. That's the mind. So the mind will manifest itself. The mind creates a body that corresponds with these tendencies, a body that is capable of expressing all of these tendencies dynamically. A brain and a central nervous system and organs that go with it and limbs that go with it that is capable of manifesting and expressing these tendencies in experience. Okay? Now that's what apparently incarnates. But that's not the self. That's these tendencies. Okay? Now, if we are identified with these tendencies, with this history as I, as me, in this lifetime, these tendencies that have been accumulated, added on to the ones from former lifetimes that we don't even remember anymore consciously, but they're there. You get it?
Yes.
You have tendencies right now that are there that were created in this lifetime, but you don't remember the actual events consciously that created those tendencies in this lifetime. Those of you who've been through living meditation recall this, do you not?
Yes.
You see, that you've had these events and these experiences that have gone to make up the self you think you are, yet consciously you don't remember them until an event happens and triggers off some kind of an automatic response based upon the way you responded to some traumatic experience of the past. A number 1 or a number 2 or a number 3 experience. You recall?
Yes.
You get that? Now that tendency, that pattern of the tendency has become the I or the self, the I thought, the I sense that you think you are. And that I thought, that I sense that you think you are, this entity that you think you are, is the one that you think is embodied. And that I that you think is embodied is the one that's going to re-embody. Not as the same I, but the same tendencies that will create its I, or that will be an I that holds all those tendencies together, or that shines or radiates out of those tendencies. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
See? But that's not the self. The self we think we are, what?
It's not the self we really are.
Yes. Yes. The self we think we are is not the self we really are. The self we really are is the total functioning, this totality functioning as it functions. It gives rise to all of it. It's the ocean that gives rise to all of the tendencies, in which all of the tendencies are occurring, yet identified with none. Without which, however, none would have any existence whatsoever. Like the sun, Bhagavan says, like the sun shining. The sun shining is what gives life to the earth, but no matter what's occurring on the earth, it does not affect the sun. You see? What's occurring on the earth can only occur on the earth because of the sun. But what's occurring on the earth in no way affects the sun. In exactly the same way, we're the self, without which none of these tendencies could be. But we are really not affected by any of these tendencies as long as we're abiding in the actual self that we are, not in the identification with the tendencies, which is the self we think we are. And the process that reveals this as your own direct insight and experience is what?
Self-inquiry.
Is inquiry. Inquiring into the sense of I, following that inquiry all the way back to the source. And the revelation of that occurs spontaneously. Now, what occurs is you ultimately come into a fine-tuned awareness of this contraction in the body that is felt as I in the body. And as you stay with that contraction, through the discomfort of that contraction, no matter how unpleasant it is, just, you have to trust me on this one, because while you're in the discomfort, it doesn't feel like anything feels good right there. Yet, prior to that contraction, is the awareness that is aware of that contraction, and the very awareness that is aware of that contraction has no contraction in it. Does it? No. So don't lose sight of the awareness that has no contraction in it while you are engaged in the inquiry into the contraction. Are you all with me?
Yes.
Just feel it, see? Just feel it. Feel the contraction. Acknowledge that there is a contraction there, which is this sense, I am this body. Which is the feeling of the I in the body as the self. The one that by habit we've been associated with and identified with for so long. The one we've come to actually believe to be us. And begin to get it that this self that I have come to believe to be me, which is a contraction, which is an uncomfortable feeling, which is an I, which also is a not I, because this I that I think I am is not you or him or her or them, it's just me. So it's a not I as well as an I. You get it? And this not I that I feel that I am is a contraction. It is a sense of separateness. And as Scripture says, the sense of separateness is sin. And sin is suffering. You get it?
Yes.
So this is the suffering of the separate sense of self. The sense of self. You get it? The sense of I. But for the self, the true self, which is just awareness, there is no sense of I. There's only I, or awareness itself. It's the pure I. This is the I that Bhagavan refers to as I hyphen I hyphen I hyphen. Or just I hyphen I. Meaning a glowing, radiating, pure, just being itself. Not the thought I, but the pure, radiant, glowing awareness. The current of consciousness that is pure being. And it's more important to feel it than it is to intellectually think about it or to try to understand about it. Feeling is the key. Are you all feeling it right now?
Yes.